Hi, everybody, wherever you be for the amateur and shortwave bands HF conditions through the weekend. It's currently the Wednesday, the 15th of February, 2023. This will get us through the week and into the weekend. Let's focus first on the A1A. And the sunspots keep coming. This is very similar to a few weeks ago when we were over 200, but we're just not getting as many active sunspots as we had back then. But still, some very impressive conditions coming from the sun. Here at about 10 o'clock, you can see a new area coming and another one coming off the southern hemisphere there, but that's going to be another day from the one that's in the northern hemisphere on the left side. So off of the east limb of the sun, we've got two new areas coming and one near the center coming as well, but this will be coming up more towards the weekend. Magnetosphere view, look at the impressive number of sunspots this is. I mean, it's incredible. There's two active regions. You can see them there in the southern hemisphere just off of the sun's equator. They're both lined with red. Those have done some solar flares, certainly, but just this is an impressive map of sunspot regions on the sun for sure. Chromal hole map, everything looks good on this front, so we do not have an elevated solar wind to be concerned about. Don't see that happening in the next few days as well. These next few days should be really good. A little loud today, maybe a little higher D-layer absorption as well, but into the weekend, there's some great conditions to work amateur and shortwave for sure. Solar flare detection, this gives you the idea there how 3213 has been firing off these M flares. And the baseline of the solar flare detection staying in the sea level, right there close to maybe about a C 5. So this is great conditions for the coming weekend. And we see the global D layer. If you're anywhere in the near the equator and south, you're seeing right there where up to about 15 megahertz starting to get attenuated, even at the 20 meter band, about 1 dB directly overhead from here. And if you're far away, like in, say, for example, North America, you're not going to have such a problem with this, but still a little attenuation still on the 40 meter band. This will be more impactful for folks in Australia and New Zealand. They have a little bit more attenuation on the 40 meter band, but not as bad as it has been. SFI down to 180, and this is about the basement, I think. I don't think we're going to really crash too much below here. I expect the SFIs to stay above 160 to 170 through the coming week and into next week. So amazing conditions, truly. And our KP index will be coming down as well. Smooth sunspot number at 206. That's up 21. Area number to 1500. That's up 335. So I think the decline here from where we're at 215 is now about to stop and either stabilize or most likely start to slowly creep up again. I think we're going to see some higher SFIs, and we're already really in good shape there. So KP3, according to Space Weather Live this morning, the real-time solar wind 324.7 kilometers per second. Don't expect this to increase too much for the next 24 hours. BZ latitude is the problem. It's been very negative most of today. Little positive numbers, but for the most part, it's pointing south. So expect some QSB or fading in the bands. You see how we peaked out early today, right there over at KP5. So that's an active storm, and we're coming down from that right now. So expect noise floors to be a little louder today on the lower bands, but to get better as the weekend approaches. This has brought up the aurora. This is a great conditions for folks that are in the northern countries to be able to work some aurora propagation if they'd like. Southern aurora just off of Tasmania, so probably not going to work too much in the south, but definitely some opportunities to work aurora in the north for the next couple of days. You can see how the auroral area is going right down into most of mainland Canada, into the southern provinces, right there into the midpoint of the southern provinces of Canada. So some good conditions there. 3-day geomagnetic forecast. Here's your KP5 today, going way down to a 3 tomorrow. That's noise floors about S1 to S2. The difference between this is stark. It really is. You go from noise floors S3 to S5, possibly, with a KP5 G1 storm, to a KP3. Now you're talking S1 to S2. So great difference in noise floors going into tomorrow. And we're going to just see those slowly decline as Wednesday and Thursday roll on. By Friday, we're definitely going to be seeing some quieter conditions out there. QRZ, SFI 180, sunspot number is 136. A index is 8, K is 3. That's unsettled. See the BZ latitude minus 9.7. That's where we get our fade from. So expect some fading today on the HF bands. Solar winds really low. We're good there. Mid-latitude aurora again, like we just showed you. EME degree fair for people that want to bounce singles off the moon. And just some heads up, 10 meters working past dark as well in the northern hemisphere right now. These solar flux index numbers have charged up the ionosphere, especially the ENF layers, to a very high extent. So 10 meters is working past dark in many places around the world. Let's give you MUFs, and I'm going to include now Crozet Island. Since Bouvet is now QRT, we're going to focus on Crozet and give you some idea about where they might be working in the world. Here's a broad look at the maximum usable frequency map worldwide. You can see how the northern lobe and the southern lobe kind of work their way throughout the world here in both hemispheres. Closer look at the northern hemisphere. 10 meters working up into the Anchorage area today, as far north as Anchorage in North America. In the European continent, you're going to hit southern Sweden and Norway with the 10-meter band. South of there, you're definitely going to be working into Africa and South America. Some great conditions on the HF bands. I mean, look at Brownsville, Texas, 40 megahertz, and Pensacola, Florida at 41. These are just huge numbers, and they were very, very high as well into Europe. Look at Europe after dark, still on 10 meters. That's what I'm saying. 10 meters will work you after dark for a while. So stay on 10 and try and make some calls. Some amazing conditions out there right now. Southern Hemisphere, you can see how we've got the 10-meter band in both in both South America and Africa, but a little bit cut out there for 12 meters in the midpoint almost of South America, dropping into the African continent. Just that one area there of like the 10-meter band being split up is what's happening there. But for the most part, both continents of South America and Africa are definitely on 10 meters for most of the day. Here is Crozet Island. Gives you an idea. It's quite a bit farther north, actually, than Bouvet was. Quite a bit farther north. In fact, Crozet is just about the same latitude as Dunedin, New Zealand. Believe it or not, it's nearly in the same exact latitude as Dunedin. So you're looking at the 10-meter band now for Crozet. Crozet should be able to work 10 for, I would say, within 2 to 3 hours or so, maybe 4 each day, and then down to 12 and 15. These are great conditions for FT8WW, planning to be on till around March, the first week of March. So FT8 Whiskey right there in the southern Indian Ocean. You get an idea, 10 meters is going to be open for them because it goes well that far south, because both islands in New Zealand will grab 10 today. Australia, look for 10 meters to go all the way through Tasmania. So both North and South Island of New Zealand also will be on 10 today. All of Japan, definitely 10 meters, and of course into Indonesia and Philippines, 10 meters for most of the day. It's a great forecast for you. Your SFIs should stabilize your amateur radio and shortwave DX forecast through Friday, and this really goes probably into the weekend, actually. Your SFIs stabilize above 170 this week and should increase going into the weekend. QSB in both hemispheres at times. Noise floors S0 to S3 at times into the weekend. High daily absorption up to 20 megahertz at times, equator to Tropic of Cancer. Voice bands north and mid latitudes 20, 17, 15, 12, the 10 meter band. On your southern hemisphere, this is great because 10 meters is coming south. So you've got 10 meters heading south in the southern hemisphere again, 20, 17, 15, 12, and 10. If you're north of about 60 degrees south. So we're talking well past both islands of New Zealand now, and certainly Crozet Island. Nighttime in your amateur radio world, QSB at times through the week. Expect noise floors to quiet down into the weekend at openings of 160, 80, 60, 40, 30, best DX. Maximum usable frequency at sunset, but please, 10 meters works after dark. Don't be afraid to try and stay there on 10, then go 12, then go 15, then go 17. That's where your DX is going to be. Just work your lower bands until you get down to 40 and 80 overnight. Daytime shortwave DXers, expect some fading at times. High SFI for great DX after sunset as well. Noise floors will be going lower as the weekend approaches. Daytime shortwave 31, 25, 22, 19, 15, and the 13-meter band. Nighttime shortwave, expect fading at times into the weekend. Noise floors decrease into the weekend, decent into the weekend. Shortwave nighttime, 120, and there's a little bit on 120 with this high of an SFI. Try and work the DX that's there. 90, 75, 60, 49. Of course, these are your bread and butter shortwave nighttime, 60, 49, and 41 megahertz. So you're just 41 kilohertz. I mean, so, wow. Let's start over again, shall we? Not too hard. 60 meters, 49 meters, and 41 are bread and butter for shortwave nighttime. But there's going to be some stuff on 120 and 90 and 75 you'll get with this high SFI. So try and work what you can there. 31, 25, 22, and 19 also will be available to you at night. In fact, 19 will stay open for about 2 hours after sunset in the southern hemisphere and an hour after sunset in the north. There's just too much SFI to not let it propagate long past dark. So these are great conditions. Remember, what we look for in DX is an SFI above 150 for 3 straight days. We've been there for over a week. We're also looking for the KP index to be at below either KP2 or less. So we want K2 or less on our noise floors. We don't have the noise floor issue, down to that low yet, but it's going that way. So by Friday, expect that 2 or 1 or K0 or whatever. It's going to be very low on Friday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, probably going to be some amazing DX to work around the world. All right, my friends. I need to get my brother to his next appointment. Thank you guys for watching. Wherever you may be, God bless you and Godspeed to the 3Y0J team. They really inspired the world, not because they couldn't finish the whole D expedition, but because they got on the air in the first place. Till we meet again. Goodbye, everybody.